your mother? It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just the
Duo.
Of feathery brethren, weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Wulf and Zach kicking it cooler than
Two.
Penguins. Still Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some
Birds with Friends.
The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some
Birds with Friends.
Wulf and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping.
We
their
are
wings
going
on.
to rip out the hearts of other podcasts. We are going to bite off their eyeballs. We're going to start every segment watching the scene from The Last of the Mohicans where the guy takes a bite out of the other guy's heart. We may not be good, but we're going to be nasty. We're going to reflect the blue-collar nature of this city. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Thursday afternoon double-dip edition of Birds with Friends. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Marissa Dunn here to talk a little bit about some final thoughts on the Eagles' win over the Minnesota Vikings. We'll turn the page to Carson Wentz Bowl, the game that comes on Sunday at 1 o'clock at FedEx Field. We've got Swooper Sorecasting to get to. How can Deniz possibly ruin Zach's weekend today? We'll find out. And, of course, submit your suggestions for Swooper prompts in the live chat for those of you who are here. We'll have our Crystal Ball Dealer predictions. But we got to start. Marissa, how are you?
I'm doing great. I think I'm ready for Swooper. Deniz is not going to mess with me this week. I think I'm saying that now, a minute and 40 seconds in. That might change towards the end, but I'm ready. I'm excited for Swooper, excited for the Eagles versus Carson Wentz. It's a good weekend ahead. What about you guys?
Zach, we got a lot of news to get to, and we can do that in a few minutes. I do want to start your take on the news out of Boston, the Ime Udoka situation. What do you feel about how that's going down? Do you have any big takes?
I don't have takes on it. I don't have enough information on it, and I think sometimes it's better to be ignorant than it is to be idiotic, right? So I'd rather
nice. That's a good one.
I'd rather reserve comment until I know what I'm commenting on. I thought you were going to ask me how am I, and the answer is excited, not just for this podcast, but for this evening. Because there's going to be some time when I come rushing to wake Emily up, and I'm going to say, Emily, number 68 reported as eligible. Okay. And because that, I would say, given what our work schedules are like on Sundays, we don't get to watch the Browns live. And tonight on Amazon Prime, we will be able to watch the Cleveland Browns live and see number 68 reporting as eligible.
Well, that's what happened last weekend, and I felt a little bit responsible in the karmic way that you do as a fan. Sometimes I had taken a screenshot of the play-by-play. It was 3 plays in a row before the Nick Chubb touchdown that it said 68 M Dunn reporting as eligible. It said he's the best reporter I know, and then. And then next thing you know, the Jets start this crazy comeback. Yeah. And they never got the ball again.
Yeah. I'm excited for tonight. I was telling you guys earlier, Michael's agent got me a field pass for before the game. So I'm super excited to be a fan.
Much to Michael's chagrin.
Yeah.
Probably.
Michael will probably be warming up like on the opposite end, like with the Steelers, like somewhere like, in the corner, like, oh, I don't know her with my big 68 on the back of my jacket. But no, I will behave. Maybe I'll network myself a little bit, never know. Lots of people walking around the sideline. But yeah, excited for that game too.
I think the inverse is true. I think people are going to be networking with you. They're going to know you're a senior producer at The Athletic, and they're going to want to speak with you.
Yeah, they're hopefully going to be like, you did really good in Swooper today. So that's what
that makes one of us.
To.
Yes.
And so, Zach, just to circle back, pro or anti-Emmy?
But so the reason Bo is bringing this up is because I had said today when I was scrolling through Twitter that like there's some things you don't need to provide commentary on, right? The app has given us access to just share thoughts on everything that comes up, and sometimes you don't have enough information.
It seems very clear that the whole story has not been told yet here, so there's no reason to weigh in.
Yeah. So I will be reading Shams and I'll be reading Woj, and I'll be reading our Celtics coverage, and to really get a sense of what's going on. But right now I have nothing of value to contribute to the story.
Well, we do need to get mistress talk in every now and then. So
no, we don't.
We've gotten that.
Yes.
We've gotten that covered for this episode.
Certainly
that means
we
you're
do
good.
not.
You're
Yes.
good for the rest of the episode. All right. Today the Eagles practiced outside in a little bit of a drizzle after a walkthrough yesterday, their first practice of the week following a Monday night game. And so with that in mind, as the team prepares to face its former franchise quarterback, we send it over to not quite the Novacare complex, but a place a few miles away for the stone cold newsman himself, Zach Berman.
The Philadelphia Eagles were back on the practice field, as our host Bo Wulf mentioned, and that is important to note because yesterday they did not practice. They had a walkthrough on Wednesday. They deviated from their typical schedule, and it's also worth noting that this is different than their approach following their Monday night game a year ago. So something that we'll talk to Nick Sirianni about tomorrow, whether they learned anything from that short week experience. Nonetheless, what's worth pointing out is the Eagles practice today. Quez Watkins, who would have missed practice yesterday with an illness, was on the field. We don't know yet what his participation is or was. Practice should be wrapped up any minute now, right? So we will get an update as far as the participation. Other than that, Hassan Reddick and Avonte Maddox were both would have been limited yesterday. Maddox with a knee injury, Reddick with a back injury. But we'll find out their practice participation. Elsewhere, since we spoke last, Darius Slay won the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. It's the 5th time Darius Slay has won the Defensive Player of the Week. Five, correct. There you go. It is the most among all defensive backs since 2016, and it's the 2nd time Slay has won it as a member of the Eagles. Actually, the first time that Darius Slay won it was in 2016 when he was playing against the Eagles, and the quarterback that day was Carson Wentz. I bring that up because Carson Wentz is a big topic in the Novacare complex and in Philadelphia this week. I would say more from those asking the questions than those answering the questions. I think there's different leadership within the organization than when Carson was here. Certainly some people still have relationships with him, and some, the person who drafted him's here, the owner who gave him that 9-digit contract extension is here. But the Eagles have moved on. Jalen Hurts playing well, so we will get to that. But as far as hard news otherwise, the Eagles still have 52 players. This has been 3 weeks with them not adding a 53rd player. Britton Covey, you can expect him to be elevated again or signed to the 53. They can still do that. And he, by the way, the parking attendants did not let him into the team lot. He did not have the necessary pass before Sunday's game, and they didn't know that he got elevated to the 53-man roster. So Britton Covey, just like us, parks with the tailgaters. Other than that, look forward to the analysis for this game. Back to you in the studio, Bo.
Thank you, Zach. The Covey thing is funny because they didn't even let him park with the practice squad. They just didn't believe that he was a player. And he also, I feel like he could have stood up for himself a little bit more.
Well, no, he said. So again, I wasn't in there. You were in there. I was at the time speaking to Jalen Hurts, so I watched the video back, and I guess practice squad parks in a different lot in the lot,
but not where he parked. They didn't tell him.
He said he parked.
Yeah,
like
they didn't even send him to the
away.
practice squad spot. Yeah.
Exactly. But he had I don't know Britton Covey at all. You have
I know him very well.
Deep conversations about the royalty, about Queen Elizabeth's passing.
And I showed him the picture of the Birds with Friends fan who was wearing the Princess Di screen print to the game.
There you go. But I once read his grandfather's book, or skimmed through his grandfather's book, and I would also say that I was impressed by his perspective. There's a quote I always think about, that you have to enjoy the scenery on a detour, right? And so here he is walking to the stadium through the tailgaters, and he's saying it reminds him of being in college, and it reminds him of when he was a kid and throwing the football in the tailgating, right? He's not big timing anybody. I respect that. So yeah, credit to I would say credit to Covey for that experience.
So when you say you read it and skimmed it, that book.
No, I think I skimmed that one more. That was one, or that
when
was
when it's a book like that where it's like the 7 secrets or whatever. Do you just skim it just to see what the 7 are and not really?
No.
Like, let's just see what they are, and then just like, what's the secret? Let's move on.
No, because the devil's always in the details, right? I mean,
but not if you're skimming it. If you're skimming it, you're not reading it. So how are you going to get the details?
Well, I suppose you and I have different skimming habits. Your skimming habit seems to be just read the 7 headlines or the 7 chapter titles. What I mean is like you might be jumping back and forth between sections, between pages. Admittedly, sometimes I don't read a book from beginning to end. I'll jump through it, or I'll read a few chapters here. Then, I mean, right here on my desk.
Chaos.
Right here on my desk, I have 3 books that I'm currently working my way through. So it depends on.
It would be funny if that's how you read like fiction. You started.
I don't read fiction. I don't read fiction.
You don't read any fiction.
No, I do not read fiction.
Why not?
Wow, that sounds so. You feel offended that I might suggest that you might read fiction.
I'm just more of a nonfiction.
Who has got time for make believe?
The last fiction book I read was The Art of Fielding. That
was a long one.
I mean, long's relative as well.
It's a long
right?
book.
Not if you skim it.
Dynamite drop in, Marissa. Yeah, dynamite drop in.
Sorry.
Oh man, we're gonna have to start a fiction club for you, Zach.
So no, I prefer nonfiction. I learn more from nonfiction than from fiction. Anyways, let's get back to the Eagles. There's a lot
what if it's
more
not about, maybe you don't know what you're going to learn. Maybe you learn about a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, I suppose so, but
all right.
Yeah.
Listen, I know we've got fiction writers who listen to the show. Shout out to Tom McAllister among them, and I imagine that they're going to take a significant umbrage at your throwing his entire profession under the bus.
I'm not throwing his profession under the bus. I'm just saying I am not a customer for fiction books. I would read it from time to time, but I prefer nonfiction. Let's talk about the Eagles Washington game. Did you want to talk about the Vikings?
I bet that's not true. I bet you read some fiction books to the kids.
Well, that is true, actually. Yeah, that is true. Good point. I read the Meacha book last night, and they were both fiction. It'd be odd if I was reading them nonfiction. Like if I was like, so right
that
here,
wouldn't surprise me though.
Yeah. So here, if I'm like, all right, guys, after Steve, let's learn about Apple. Let's learn about Apple after Steve Jobs is passing.
Yeah.
Right? That would be an odd nighttime reading to the kids. Anyways, let's.
Wait, how is the art?
I haven't dug into the Good Argument book.
Yeah.
Haven't dug into it. I was enthralled with this book last weekend. So.
And what is that book? That's the after Steve.
After Steve, yeah. How Apple became $1 trillion company and lost its soul is the book by Trip Mickle.
It's funny. That's going to be the exact same subtitle as the After Shield book about birds with friends.
We're becoming $1 trillion podcast
yes.
and losing our soul.
Correct.
Yeah. So this has already deviated to. I wanted this to be. I wanted to stay on point. I was driving home today thinking about Swooper and was committed to staying within myself and already 18 minutes into the podcast, you have me talking about fiction and nonfiction. People want to know about the Eagles. Let's discuss the Eagles.
All right, let's talk first about the game on Monday night.
Okay.
Tell me, after having rewatched the game, reanalyzed it, thought about it some more, letting it settle into a brain that had a little bit of sleep. Tell me if there is anything that you thought was different than you thought the night of, or anything that you sort of learned along the way.
Well, that and the numbers confirmed some of the things that I thought in real time. Right, we discussed after the pod that the defense seemed to play much more aggressive on the ball. I should say coverage in particular, and then you look at the numbers and passes defended, which is I guess defined by the NFL as an incompletion where the defender gets his hands on the ball. Okay. The Eagles had 11 in this game. That was the most in the Jonathan Gannon era. by a significant margin. Well, it was significantly above their average. They average a little over 3 a game, right? So you're looking at 8 more passes defended than their average. And by the way, the average is also skewed by the game the other night. That says something to me. I asked Jonathan Gannon about this today, and he said it was kind of, the way the Vikings were playing and the emphasis from the position coaches. But to me, that was a much more effective way to play coverage. And I thought we discussed it in the postgame pod, the rush and the coverage really worked well together. And because they didn't have prolific sack numbers in this game, right? But they did get to Cousins. They blitzed more. The blitzes were effective. And when they rushed, it wasn't as if the cornerbacks were 5 yards off and letting them make plays. So credit to them there. We spoke on the post-game pod.
The passes defense thing, just to talk this through. Does that, you think that's like it's hard to disentangle that from just like Kirk Cousins throwing into tight coverage, right? Maybe it means that the coverage was better as opposed to them like playing the ball better.
Well, that's what I mean is that they're there, that the coverage is tight, right? Like I
and we saw lots of times last year where the coverage was not tight. Yeah.
We saw times last week against the Lions when the coverage was not tight either, right? And I mean, we've discussed it many times. Philosophically, this defense is about preventing the big plays, keeping keeping the plays in front of them. And if you were aggressive on the ball, it leaves you more susceptible to big plays, right? So you have to have a commitment to being aggressive on the ball. And sometimes in zone coverages, you don't see that as often, right? You're playing a little farther off. So that really jumped out to me. I thought it was an effective way to play. Now, can you do it against every quarterback? Can you do it against every receiver? I don't know the answer to that. But that seemed to me far more effective than, to use the phrase we used last week, playing 9 yards off on 3rd and 6, right? Or not 9 yards off, letting them get 9 yards on 3rd and 6. That doesn't do you any good. So that from the first drive of the game, that really jumped out. And I think that was a noticeable difference for this defense.
I think that's also ties in with like one of my big takeaways from watching the defense closely. Kirk Cousins had a bad game. Like
he did.
He was a big part of why they were so successful, I think. But I mean, credit to them for getting in his face and affecting him and getting in his little Melvin mind.
I thought Reddick played better. I mean, it wasn't a great game, but he played better than week 1.
Yeah, let's talk about Reddick a little bit.
He had some more effective rushes. He did have a pass breakup. I thought he was better than he was against the Lions. I mean, not a 15 million. He didn't look like the team-changing or game-changing player, but he was better.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly adding to the rush, and his presence on the field makes them better, certainly than last year. I would agree that he's not through 2 games. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but he's not playing to a $15 million a year level. I thought Josh Sweat was really good. I think he is their best pass rusher. I know that that's no surprise to you. No. But I'd like to see them. I'm not complaining about last week's game plan because it worked out very well. And it's really, it's not about unlocking Hassan Reddick. It's about doing what's best for the defense. But I would like to see them find a way to game a little bit more up for Hassan Reddick. That's fair.
I mean, look, the reason you make that investment into him is because you expect him to be as a centerpiece, and you should treat him as such. Also on the defensive line, before we get to the offense, I thought Fletcher Cox played really well.
I thought he was very good.
In speaking to him yesterday, I asked him if that was one of the better games that he played in the past year and a half. And he said, there's so much that happens beyond the stat sheet that you can't really tell. So he didn't want to say that, but I did go, looking at the game logs of his pressure rates and you have to go back to the Washington game last year. I think it was the one
Garrett
down
Gilbert
there.
game.
No, you're right. The home game.
The Tuesday.
That was the best game he's played under Gannon, statistically, but not including the postseason game. He's now had at least a half a sack, I think, in like 5 straight games or 4 straight games, right? So he is, you know, I'm not saying he's the Fletcher Cox of 2018, but he's making plays out there. He's not like a negative, you know.
Yeah.
So
he was not great in week 1, I thought, but I thought he was very
okay.
good in this game.
And then
I think the on the defensive tackles, I've been a little bit underwhelmed with Milton Williams year 2. I'd like to see more. I thought that we were going to see more of a leap. I don't know if he's, it's 2 games. We don't know what these guys are dealing with. He could be injured or something, like, he could be hampered, but he hasn't been as explosive to me, it seems. I thought Javon Hargrave has been just okay, although he had a really nice rush that led to the first Darius Slay interception he got in Cousins' face. And then the Jordan Davis thing, I mean, I know we talked about it last week. He doesn't deserve to be on the field more than, the 4th or 5th.
That's a soundbite there.
More than what he's getting right now. Like,
he was the 4th one the other night. He was ahead of Marlon.
And he is the 4th or 5th best defensive tackle. He's not a game changer right now. And I know that there's a case that, like, him being on the field changes things. But then you're talking about then you're talking about the investment and the hashtag resources conversation, because you didn't trade up to take this guy in the 1st round just because he can occupy blockers as a nose tackle, right? Like, That's a body type that you could find in the 2nd round or the 3rd round or in free agency. Like, you traded up to get him because he's going to be a game wrecker to some degree, right? And it's 2 games. It's going to take a long time. Nobody's saying anything definitive, but right now, 2 games into his career, he is not that player just yet.
Well, so the Vikings abandoned the run, basically, which surprised me, because the game was never like so far out of reach that you couldn't run the ball, right? I mean, they had was it 2 interceptions in the end zone, right? Another one in the red zone area, and then so it was never like they had to throw every down, but they did abandon the run. And yeah, I think it's not breaking news here that Jordan Davis is farther along as a run stopper or space occupier in the run game than he is as a penetrator in the passing game. Now, I do want to see him.
Yeah, but I didn't think that he was like a monster in the run game either.
I mean, they didn't do anything against the run, or I'm sorry, they didn't do anything in the running game. So, like, even if he's not blowing up plays, the Vikings didn't run the ball well. So, I suppose that's a credit. Now, I mean, not to move off you here, but like, or to move off Davis here, but I thought the linebackers, like TJ Edwards in particular, were really good. So, but the Vikings didn't run well, and Jordan Davis's snaps were mainly in expected run situations.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay. Any thoughts on the offense? I feel like we talked a lot about the offense, but.
So you pointed this out in your day after about the amount of 11 personnel that the Eagles played. And yeah, it really jumped out to me watching it back. And then I looked at the numbers, and it was the most 11 personnel that they've played in the Sirianni era. It was 88% right? And I asked Shane Steichen about that today, and Shane said a lot of that had to do with being in tempo, right? They want to come out in tempo, and Jason Kelce even said when you're in tempo, 11 personnel he thinks is usually the preferred package for tempo for teams, right? But we discussed this a lot this time last year, that Sirianni kind of wanted to play 11 personnel, and they had, when Ertz was on the team, they were kind of forced into it. And then you wrote about this. You were ahead of everyone else on this late last year, that they were more effective running the ball in 12 personnel, right? Stoll was really effective in that role. And so I was curious what they would do this year. And I think, given their weapons and given the fact that you'd rather have Quez Watkins on the field than Jack Stoll, or Zach Pascal on the field instead of Jack Stoll, it behooves them to play more 11. So I want to see if this is a trend, because 88%, that would put them near the top of the league every single week. And if you do that, then the shape of the offense changes. So curious to see if it was a 1 week thing, or if we are seeing them as an 11 personnel team. And then the other thing I'll just say is Jalen was awesome, right? Like he was everything. He wasn't perfect, but he was everything you could expect at this point, or I should say want at this point of his career. And look, it's a credit to him, and it's a credit to that coaching staff. And it makes you rethink not just the ceiling of the team, but maybe Jalen's ceiling as well.
I think that's right. And now we get to watch how he rebounds. We'll see how he does against a Commanders defense that has not been very good. If we can turn the page, should we do break now and then do Commanders? Or
wait,
should
real
we save
quick,
the break for Swooper? What do you think? Go ahead.
There's two breaks, Mercer's saying, so we can do it.
I'm aware.
Okay.
Real quick.
So we spoke on the post game pod about Jalen's tweet, and that's when you asked me if I had known that expression from the playground growing up. So I asked Jalen about that tweet because it seemed uncharacteristic and it's different. He doesn't usually tweet like that after a game, and he said he does not run his Twitter account. So that is the answer. Whoever did had a clever expression. But
and did
it was not Jalen to put it out.
Did you get any feedback from other people in your life about the Hertz donut?
No, I did not. I did not. I don't think my brothers got that far into the pod. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. We'll see. Well, I'll find out. I will ask them. They've been busy with some other stuff, so I will ask them this week.
Okay. Let's take a little break. We'll come back, talk about this matchup, and then another break before Swooper. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. More athletes are speaking out about the importance of mental health these days, and I think Eagles fans would agree. The ball started rolling a little bit with Brandon Brooks. He was on the forefront of this, and good for him. So you don't have to be a pro to want to be at the top of your game. Everybody needs to take care of their mental well-being, whether you are an athlete or not. And therapy is the best way to stay in peak mental shape. What do you get out of therapy? Well, you could unload stress. You could have some issues with emotional healing, or some help with anxiety or depression, or you could just want somebody to talk to. Well, if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists anytime. When you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/BWF today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/BWF.
Imagine having one extra day every week, more time to cook healthy meals, work on that novel, or binge some good reality TV. I know I'd love that. Now that's all possible with ClickUp, the productivity platform that'll save you 1 day a week on work, guaranteed. ClickUp began with the premise that productivity was broken. There were too many tools to keep track of, too many things in entirely separate ecosystems. There had to be a more productive way to get through the daily hustle. ClickUp is one tool to house all your tasks, projects, docs, goals, spreadsheets, and more. ClickUp is built for teams from 1 to 1,000 or more. It's packed with features and customization options that no other productivity tool has, so you can work the way you work best. Whether you're in product management, engineering, sales, marketing, or HR, ClickUp has easy-to-use solutions that create a more efficient work environment. Join the more 800,000 highly productive teams using ClickUp today. Use our code BIRDS to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Sign up today at clickup.com and use the code BIRDS. Hurry up, this offer ends soon.
Okay, back on Birds with Friends. Bo, Zach, and Marissa. Zach, you talked about it, how some of the conversation in the locker room this week has been Carson Wentz focused, maybe more so from the reporters than the players in the locker room. But how do you feel like the temperature is going up against the former quarterback, and are there players who are viewing this as an opportunity to get the guy?
I don't know if I would frame it like that. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think the relationship between Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz in 2020 was, as Allen Iverson used to say, peaches and cream all the time, right? And it was a weird year. It was you had the COVID restrictions, right? So that affects the organic relationships you get in the meeting room or the cafeteria or whatever it might be. And then even in a normal year, it was a very, there was a lot of baggage, if you will, on that draft pick and on what was going on. And so I would imagine that I think Jalen's motivated every week, but yeah, I even if Jalen didn't say it and he shot down this topic, he said he's focused on the now. The team's focused on the now. He wasn't really in a memory lane type mood.
So the thing you learned about him was that he can do like weird stuff in the pocket, basically.
Yeah. Weird stuff in the pocket and throws the ball far or something. And then Carson, I gotta think that Carson, this one's personal or more personal.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, he's human. Now it's different than the game in Philly, right? Like if this game was in Philly, I think it would take on a whole different life of its own. Or if this game was last year, right? It's going
to be weird though, because there are going to be a lot of Eagles fans there.
Yes,
like
which he referenced in his podcast.
He's going to get booed in his own stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's Look,
that's awkward.
I don't think the Eagles are. I don't think there's going to be guys on the Eagles who are like, we need to, shut this guy up, right? And I think guys like Fletcher Cox, liked Carson, didn't dislike Carson, right? And Fletcher said he's been in touch with him this week.
Kelsey said today that they're still very good friends, and they exchange messages. Yeah. Now,
if you pan up to the owner's box or to wherever Howie Roseman's sitting, there, it might matter to him, right? That was a bold move that he made, and it seems to be working. But I don't. I
think
the
one put in that situation. I mean, that was a Carson dictated decision.
Exactly, and I have something coming out, an email exchange with Ben Standig, our outstanding Commanders writer, coming out tomorrow, where I make that point. Like it's been portrayed that like the Eagles dumped Carson Wentz, but no, this was not the desired outcome for the Eagles. Their desired outcome was not to trade their franchise quarterback before the 9-digit.
Well, isn't that just another example of like how they're in this spot thanks to like a lot of happy accidents?
Yeah,
because,
you're right.
Like that should have been like the way that it turned out. It should have been their plan.
Sure,
it's much better.
I was talking to someone today who said, you don't think that they drafted Hurts, because they were worried about Carson, and look, maybe they thought that the injuries are keep coming up, but I genuinely think they thought this was a cost controlled backup quarterback that they didn't want to keep spending every year, $8-10 million to sign veteran TB, whoever that veteran is. I don't think they said, you know what, this is insurance in case Carson Wentz implodes and we trade him next year. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think that's right. It was. I mean, I don't think they ever drafted him with the idea that he might take Carson's job.
Yes.
I think they drafted him with the idea that a cost controlled backup is very important. Yes. We have a quarterback who gets injured. We expect to be a playoff team, so we need a good backup quarterback. And also, like, maybe Carson is going to be so injured that we're going to need a real better backup plan. But I don't think they anticipated, this guy might be better. Yes. Now, they also maybe didn't correctly assess the people dynamics of it. Not only
Sure.
like how would Carson react to this, but also is Jalen Hurts, like, you can't just assume because he was a good soldier behind Tua that he was going to come in and accept being a backup
Yeah, exactly.
at this level. So, but still, I
And
mean, it's worked out extremely well.
and the other part too is they had to be willing to make the trade, right? So at the end, the Eagles didn't like dump him in that sense. Carson wanted out, but the Eagles had, I mean, they could have done what the Nets did with Kevin Durant effectively, or what the 49ers did with Deebo Samuel, right? They were willing to move on. I think they saw the benefit of the financial relief. They saw that a divorce was coming there. So I think
I think they also, I do think that, I mean, I think you're right. I think they behind the scenes maybe like oversold the idea that they were being dragged to doing this. I think to some degree they recognized that there was a scenario in which this was going to be selling high on a player who was declining.
Yes, and so that's why I'm glad you framed it like that, because I do think it's important to distinguish between the 2021 decision, the 2021 decision and the 2020 decision. I don't think the 2020 decision was made with worry that Carson was going that Carson was declining. I think the 2021 decision was made with that possibility in mind, if that makes sense.
That's right. Yeah.
But to answer your question, it's a great storyline for us. It's a great storyline for the television commentators. It's a great storyline for the fans. I don't think it has the same juice for the players on the field, although I got to think it matters to Carson.
And I think it matters to Jalen to some degree.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's in his head for sure.
Yeah, but like I don't think like Hassan Reddick's like, oh, we need to stick at the Carson Wentz, right? So,
right. Yeah. In terms of the actual matchup, it does strike me that the way that we characterize the scheme of the Jonathan Gannon defense, not so much what we saw against the Vikings, but in general, force the opposing quarterback to take his medicine and see if he can be patient enough to work the ball downfield. That seems like precisely the kind of defense you should play against Carson Wentz, and dare him to not make mistakes as he takes the layups down the field, because having watched him over the past couple of years, that is not something that I'm sure that he can do.
Well said. If we said last week Kirk Cousins is the type of quarterback who can carve up a Jonathan Gannon defense, Carson Wentz profiles as the type of quarterback who plays right into a Jonathan Gannon defense, right? So
who holds the ball in the pocket, like
yes, exactly, yeah. Who's going to try to he's not taking what the defense gives him. What was Chris Ballard's line? It was he just needs to take the layups or just needs to make the layups. And I know Stan Dig has written about this, but Carson said in a one-on-one with Ben during the offseason, or I should say during the preseason, that he thinks there's a touchdown to be had on every single play, right? That's the attitude that like plays into Gannon's approach.
Yes. Now that said, through 2 games, the offense has been very good for Washington. 9th in EPA per drive, 6th in EPA per dropback. They play heavy 11 personnel, the 3rd most in the league, 83%. They do a lot of early down play action. That's the 3rd heaviest in the league as well at about 51%. They've done well against zone and man. He spreads the ball around very well so far. Scott Turner, the offensive coordinator, getting a lot of love for the way that he is using guys like Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin. I had it in the power rankings that this is the only team in the league that has 6 guys with at least 70 receiving yards through 2 games. No other team has more than 4. And so you've got the 3 receivers, you've got Logan Thomas, you've got the 2 backs, Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick. So you don't know necessarily. It's not like going up against the Vikings where let's formulate our game plan to stop Justin Jefferson and let's see if they have a plan B. This is an offense that is willing to throw it wherever to whoever's open theoretically. So it's a different type of challenge. I'm curious to see what kind of game plan Gannon's going to come out with.
You're right. And I do like on paper the targets that Washington has. Sorry, we discussed this the other night. We are in agreement on how good McLaurin is. Jahan Dotson was someone who had juice coming out of Penn State. We discussed the wide receivers leading up to the draft. Curtis Samuel's an old Shield favorite, who hasn't really put it together recently, or hasn't put it together in past years, but is
Curtis Samuel and
this
Jahan
season.
Dotson. That's a big Shield
Yes.
core.
Now, it should be noted, I don't know if we're getting into the matchup, but Washington lost their center, right? So
Chase Roulier done for the year. Wes Schweitzer likely to be the replacement, although he was inactive because he was injured last week. So see how they go. See how they do.
Yeah,
Garrett Bradbury was supposed to be bad too, and the Eagles didn't do a ton up the middle. But
no, good point. But so you want to see how the protection is. Not a great offensive line, but good enough, I guess. Right? We'll see how that goes. But point being, they have weapons on offense, and Carson, say what you will about him, he can get hot. We've seen him have games when he goes on these heaters. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and he is willing to try things that other quarterbacks might not try. So like that means plays downfield that are you're gonna have to be ready for those, and maybe get a few more of those pass defense that you are keeping your eye on, Zach.
Yes, you are correct.
Other side of the ball, this is a defense that has been very bad through 2 games, especially against the run. 30th in EPA per play against the run. They are, let's see, 30th. I guess I didn't write it down what they are in terms of EPA per drive, but they are towards the bottom of the league. They blitz a lot, but they're also missing, there's no Chase Young. Their linebacker, I was talking to Ben Standig today. He was talking about how terrible their linebackers are. I think this is a game where the Eagles probably can have their way on the ground, and then hope that that allows them to pop a few big plays deep.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. It's a good front, and in talking,
it's not, but I think it's like a good front in theory and on reputation, but it's not really playing like a good front.
Well, in talking to, I was talking to Lane yesterday, and he mentioned Allen and Payne, not guys he's going to see, but Allen and Payne is guys who are, who have kind of deserved reputations. Now, the edge rushers aren't really that good right now. I mean, Montez Sweat has the tools in his body, but their interior guys are really.
You swallowed a wrench?
I swallowed a wrench? No, I did not swallow a wrench. They have a backup. Yeah. They have a backup defensive end who once caused such outrage that you had to write an article. That's Casey Toohill.
I'm glad you brought that up, Zach, because it reminds me that I don't think that we have all the way circled back on the Kerry Vincent trade now that the roster has shaken out.
This is important. This is
the guy's a 7th round, but let's just run through this timeline one more time. Guy's a 7th round pick, doesn't play a game. You trade a 6th round pick for him. And then you cut him the next year. He's gone. He's not even on anybody's practice. He might be on a practice squad, but he's out of the building.
Yeah. So we played this game last week, Swooper Forecasting, right?
Yeah.
And
does that feel like a good process to you?
And I will no. So this is my answer.
Okay.
And I was really frustrated myself because I did not follow my kind of core convictions, if you will, right? And what I had learned was that game that Denise had us play is all about the sunk cost fallacy, right? And to keep Kerry Vincent around because of this trade last year would have been the same as me throwing my turkeys in because I already made the bid. Look, they made what I felt was a low leverage trade. All right. They traded, they thought they saw something there. They wanted to see him. They didn't keep him. And I'm not saying it was like a great trade, but to me, if you're exchanging 7th and 6th round picks or whatever, or to me, it's a low leverage trade. If you like the player, you bring him in your building, it's worth giving it a look. there's things
There's
that
got
I
to be
could.
some kind of saying that you like. If everything matters, then or if everything doesn't matter, then nothing matters, or something like that. You must have something in your back pocket like that.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I say, I say who you are some of the time is who you are all of the time. Right?
Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
So,
Yeah.
to that quote, yeah,
You can't just
it's
say
that
just because this
you
trade
can't
is
just
less.
yeah, you
the
can't just
stakes are low,
focus on
doesn't
the
mean
big
you can
deals.
just make a bad trade.
Exactly. I'm not dismissing that, but I wasn't as outraged about the trade because I wasn't as I was more focused on the return rather than the compensation, right? And so the return was a player that you thought had some skill. He didn't make the team. I would hold it against them more if they kept him.
It's also, this is another one of those happy accidents and a thing that has turned out well despite the design necessarily. I mean, they did which I thought was a fine plan to have a bunch of lottery tickets, young guys at corner, and hope that one of them popped. And between Tay Gowan and Mac McCain and Kerry Vincent, two of them are gone, and one of them is on the practice squad, and none of those guys hit. But you were probably aware that the cornerback market, like the veteran market, there would be somebody playable available, and I think they got lucky that Bradbury is the one who shook loose and was better than the other options out there.
Yeah.
It's like they got lucky that Allen Robinson didn't accept their deal.
I mean, I agree. Now, there's so many things you can look at. We talked about Darius Slay. They turned out to be lucky that Byron Jones didn't want to sign with them, right?
Exactly.
Oftentimes, the best deals are the ones you don't make. And as I have thought in my debriefing of what occurred last week, sometimes the best bids are the bids you don't make.
Nice. Well, that's a good lead in. Why don't we take our second break? We'll come back. We got Swooper and Crystal Baldeagle. How can Deniz ruin us today? Let me tell you about Trade Coffee. It's a coffee subscription service unlike anything you've tried before because they partner with top independent roasters to freshly roast and send the best coffees in the country direct to your home on your preferred schedule. The coffee I get from Trade is so good, I can't believe how much I like what they picked for me, and their team actually worked with me to create my own custom collection, which is great for me because, frankly, I'm recording this ad at 3:18 in the morning. That means when I wake up tomorrow and the kids are getting ready to go to school, your boy's going to need some coffee. So the truth is, I wouldn't mind if it was just bad coffee. I would still shove it down my gullet, but it's such a treat when it tastes good. And that's what Trade does for me. And if what I got isn't up your alley, well, don't worry. Trade will have whatever it is you want. You can shop their most popular coffees by roast or flavor profile, or you can take their coffee quiz and get expertly matched with coffees you'll love. So, if you want to support small businesses and brew the best cup of coffee you've ever made at home, it's time to try Trade Coffee. Right now, Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/BWF. That's drinktrade.com/BWF for $30 off your subscription to the best coffees in the country. All right. We're back on Birds with Friends. Bo, Zach, and Marissa. Swooper Sorecasting time, wherein we bid on potential outcomes for the upcoming game. I took home two skins, whatever we're going to call it. 2 turkeys, I guess. Turkeys and turkeys. I'm up 2-0-0. I have 1 extra turkey with which to bid this week, 25. You guys both have 24. Marissa, I believe it's your turn to go first.
Oh.
Wait, do you mind if I interject real quick with just a news update? Because while the
It better be good.
the Eagles injury report came out, and they had a bunch of players limited for rest reasons. This is going to be typical for their first practice of the week, which today was A.J. Brown, Fletcher Cox, Landon Dickerson, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Isaac Sayamalu, Darius Slay, and Josh Sweat, all limited because of rest. Avonte Maddox limited because of a back. Hassan Reddick limited because of a knee. Quez Watkins limited because of the illness. So that's your injury report, but everyone practiced to some extent today. Sorry to interrupt you, Marissa.
No, that was good. That might, have something to do with someone's super. So I think that was important.
Yeah, that was important. The news there was that everybody practiced.
Yeah, we are in theory an Eagles podcast, right? Like
it's funny that that was the break-in. By the way, no news.
I appreciate it, Zach.
Some people do listen to us because they want to know what's going on with you.
Ooh, Chat 69 bot is in the chat. So
just in time for some
Marissa,
super.
quick on the trigger finger. Nice.
Yes.
All right.
Done.
All right, Marissa, you start us off.
Okay. So there was a lot of Carson Wentz in the chat submissions of Swooper, but I'm going to start with, I just thought this one was fascinating. This was from Graham. The combined jersey numbers of touchdown scores in the game will be over 200.
Ooh, I like
We've
that.
Never had anything like that.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. Shout out to Graham. Real good
Now,
one.
let's clarify one thing.
Both teams.
Both teams.
Both teams, and if a player scores multiple times, his number counts both times.
Multiple times,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 tight end touchdowns, and you're like basically there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But,
a good one, but you need tight end. But these wide receivers, there are not a lot of wide receivers in the 80s.
Yes.
Exactly,
They're all low.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I already checked it out because, it was my super. So 2.
You need it. You really do need 2
Or
running or 2 tight ends,
maybe.
or defense. Yeah, but even a defensive score, it's likely to be a defensive back.
Yeah.
I'll go 3 because that's a fun one to root for. I love this one.
Zach? I'll go 4.
Ooh. I mean, you're thinking like 7-ish touchdowns. 4 going once. 4 going twice. Oh, you got it. That's a fun one.
Okay. At 4, I'm good with that. I wasted 17 on nothing last week, so something.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, I need a Goddard touchdown. That's what I'm going to be rooting for.
All right, I will go. Carson Wentz attempts a left-handed pass. 1. One going once. 1 going twice. I should have said a quarterback that way, but sold to the handsome gentleman for 1 turkey.
I don't like Bo getting all these for 1, but I wasn't interested in that one. Come on, Zach. Just kidding, Zach.
All right, Zach, you're up.
Do your thing. I don't want to put pressure on you.
So Carson
Zach's
Wentz,
not big on anything. He's going to save all of his turkeys.
Carson Wentz has more interceptions than Jalen Hurts has touchdowns. And a push does not get you a point here. So you
passing
are
and rushing for Jalen Hurts.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't specify here. What should it be? We can workshop this.
It's yours. You get to decide. What's your intention.
Passing.
So
passing.
So Wentz has more interceptions than Jalen Hurts passing touchdowns.
Correct. And for the record here, Jalen Hurts this season, as well as he's playing, has 1 touchdown. He has 1 passing touchdown. And Carson Wentz, for the record here, has 3 interceptions this season. He had 2 interceptions against Jacksonville and then 1 against the Lions.
2.
3.
4.
Do I hear 5?
4 going once. 4 going twice. Sold.
Oh.
To the handsome gentleman in the blue.
All right.
All right. Wentz INTs over Hurts pass touchdowns. Okay.
Okay. I'm hitting open to the document for the very first time. You ready? Oof. Lots of red here, so that means this
Marissa and I
is-
have 20 turkeys. Zach has 24.
That means when I see red, that means this is not a normal style
Mm.
auction. Okay. The item is Carson Wentz throws at least one interception or is charged with at least one fumble. Does not have to be a lost fumble or both. And this is a sequential one-time bid auction. Players will each bid only once, publicly in the following order. First, the player with the fewest turkeys remaining right now will announce their bid to everyone. Next, the player with the fewest turkeys remaining will announce their bid to everyone. Finally, the player with the most turkeys remaining will announce their bid to everyone. Bidding is over at that point. The highest bidder wins the item and pays their own bid. The losers do not pay anything. Bids of 0 are allowed for all players. If there is a tie for fewest turkeys remaining, which there is, flip a coin or draw lots to randomly determine the bidding order between those players.
All right, Zach.
I don't know what that draw lots means.
We'll do it this way. It's like instead of flipping a coin, Zach, hold in your hand underneath the a 1 or a 2. Okay. And then we'll let Marissa pick odds or evens, and then you reveal.
Okay, and this has nothing to do with the amount of turkeys I'm bidding. Right?
Correct.
I just want to make sure. Okay.
You were just picking 1 or 2, and then Marissa is deciding
Okay.
odds or even.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay. Marissa?
Even.
You held it up too early.
Wait, I didn't even see it. I had the thing on the screen.
All right. So that means Marissa, you will make your first bid. Then I will make the second bid, and Zach will make the third bid.
Okay.
Okay.
What's
And
the
that-
and,
again,
and
the
just
item
repeat
is-
the
Okay,
item?
the item again
The
is
item is that Carson Wentz throws an interception or is charged with a fumble. He does not have to lose it.
yes,
Okay.
or both.
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't
Either
have
if either one of those things happens,
Okay.
you win the bid. You get the point.
6. Bo.
7.
Zach.
8. I'm winning this one.
You'll take
8.
that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
So you got 16 left.
Zach was in his head like, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, that was actually my so my strategy.
You were lucky to get good to go last.
Exactly.
There.
Yeah. So I can promise you that if I was first or second, I would have just said 0. If I was first, I would have said 0 there, right? Because I would not want anything in there. But
but you don't lose anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what Denise has up his sleeve here. Right? So I don't know if the third one he puts in is that the amount of turkeys you put in the first. So yeah. So I never know.
Now, if I had said 8, would you have said 9? Would you have taken it? Was 8 your limit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Marissa, you're up. You don't have to tell me. Yeah.
Okay. Eagles wide receivers will combine for more receiving yards than Washington wide receivers. 1.
Eagles wide receivers more than Washington wide receivers?
Mhm.
Okay. 2.
3.
4.
5.
6.
7.
8.
Oof. 9.
I mean, it's 50-50.
Zach, you okay down there?
Yeah, I'm good.
I mean, I do think that I would guess that Washington is going to have more because I think they're going to be forced to throw more, but it's still 50-50. I'll go 10.
Wow. How many do you have left?
We both have 20. $10 going once. 10 going twice.
11.
Ooh, 11. I'll let you have it for 11 unless Zach wants to pop in. No?
You're good.
All right.
Okay. So
All
it was
right,
more than I
Eagles
wanted to
22.
spend, but like you said, 50-50. So go for it.
All right. This was a suggestion from someone on Twitter, this idea for a prompt, so I liked it. Dallas Goedert has as many catches as this item is sold for.
Mm. 1.
3.
4.
5.
Do I hear 6?
5 going once. 5 going twice. Sold. So Dallas
Sold to
Goedert needs to
Bo.
have has to have exactly 5 catches. All right. Zach?
AJ Brown has a Batman-related touchdown celebration.
Now who's gonna
Yeah.
adjudicate whether his celebration is Batman related?
He'll confirm it after the game. And should I give context here or no?
It's up to you.
He said after the game the other night that he was asked if Darius Slay's nickname about the 3 Batmans was going to stick, and he said yeah, he didn't get into the end zone, so you didn't get to see what he might have had planned. So is it something that does he get into the end zone? B, does he bring it on the road, or does he wait until they're home? So there's a few different things here.
1.
1 going once. 1
2.
going twice. 2 going once.
I'm out. You can have it.
2 going twice.
Okay. No.
Sold to the handsome man in the red.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
As we prepare for the next Deniz, I have 15. Zach has 14. Marissa has 9.
Okay. Wow. Okay, this one is long, but this is no red writing, so this seems like a normal auction. All right. There are 3 or more plays in the game in which the number of yards gained by a player on either team, and then in parentheses it says receiver, rusher, any kind of returner, including interception and FR returns.
Fumble recovery.
Recovery returns. Okay. On the play is the same as the jersey number of the player who gained them. Examples. If Quez Watkins 16-yard catch, a Miles Sanders 26-yard run, a Britton Covey 18-yard punt return, a Jordan Davis 90-yard fumble recovery return. For reference, there are 4 such plays in the Eagles game last week. Notes: passing yards do not count. Plays negated by penalty do not count, and penalty yards which are added or taken away from the gain do not count either. Just the number of yards credited to the player on the play matters.
So what if it's a penalty that makes it a no play? Does that still count?
No, I think plays negated by penalties do not count.
Yeah, plays negated by penalties do not count.
Is that what he said?
And
okay.
the penalty yards, which are added or
Right,
taken
don't
away
count.
from the game, do not. Yeah.
Okay. I like this one. This is a fun one to track. I'll say 2.
And if there was 4 of them last week.
And this is at least 3, right? Not exactly 3.
So it says there are 3 or more plays in the game in which the number of yards gained by a player on either side of either team.
And multiple, it can be the same player multiple times.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it doesn't say
Just want to check these boxes. Okay.
Okay.
I'll say 2.
I'll go 3.
4. Zach wants nothing to do with it.
Going once.
4 going once.
I'm out.
4 going twice. Sold. All right. All I need is a couple Jalen Hurts
like that
quarterback
one.
sneaks.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, shoot. I didn't even think of that. He didn't include that one in there.
That's right.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a good one. I like that. Fun thing to root for.
All right, Marissa, you're up.
Okay. So I told Bo before we got on here that I wanted to do Aaron Judge hits his 61st home run, but obviously, I got to cater to the Philly crowd here. So somebody did submit this, and I like this one. So the Phillies' magic number is currently 11. By the time of the game, the Eagles game, it will be lower than the Eagles' margin of victory, if that makes sense.
So the magic number by the time, right? So it can only get lower than 11. It could be as low as 9. Oh no, do they play today?
Yes,
so it could be.
Today.
So if they win, Oh, and then there's the
And
other losses.
other
So yeah, it
teams-
could keep going. Okay, will be lower than the Eagles' margin of victory. That's a good one.
Yes, that was submitted by the chat. So
Zach doesn't like these ones that are,
I
that are
know.
not just results of something that happens in the game.
Yeah.
This is a football podcast.
This is a football podcast.
Well, we it's Philly's podcast too, obviously. Right, Zach?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. When Phillies made a trade, I was on top of that, so that's true.
All right, I'll go one.
I think I already said one, but I'll say two.
Oh, okay. I'll go. Oh, all right. So what are you saying?
I'll say three. That way it's exactly
All right,
where it should
4.
have been. 5.
I'll go 6. I think the Eagles are gonna win this one pretty handily.
I mean, it's a 6.5 point spread. It could be lower than.
Yeah, the magic numbers are always a little confusing because.
I'll go 7.
Oh. All right, you got it.
Zach?
Nope.
Okay.
That's just not bidding on anything. So, Bo, how many you have left? You got to be almost
I got
done.
4 left.
Okay.
You have 9 left. Zach has 14 left.
Okay.
A man must have a code.
That only works if you actually follow it every time.
Well, that's why I have transgressed and I have atoned and I okay. So
All right. Here's mine. A 2-point conversion fails.
1.
2.
They wish it was 2, right?
3.
I saw that joke, Bo.
I don't even understand the joke. Oh,
They failed the
I see.
2-point conversion.
Yeah,
So
all right,
yes.
yeah. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. 3.
You gotta be like a Reef. A Reef sold every joke, man. He was the and then he left.
That's why he's a senior national
Yeah.
writer now.
Yeah.
All right, Bo said 3. Zach, you want it for 4?
No.
I'm out.
Wow. All right.
Bo for 3.
That's fun. Okay. Zach, yours?
The Eagles cover the spread and the over is hit. So the over in this game is 47.5. And as Bo mentioned, the spread, according to our
Now are we
betting
going by
partner.
the spread right now? Or
Well, that's what I was going to say.
The
The spread right now, according to our betting partner, BetMGM, which is the official betting partner of the Athletic, the spread right now is 6.5. So the Eagles cover 6.5, and the game hits the 47.5 over.
1,
I'm out.
2,
3,
4.
5.
It's a
I need
25%
some-
chance. It's not that high. Let's. These are normal bids. Don't be so pained.
6.
There's only 2
7.
items left.
8.
Sold to Zach.
All right.
I'm
Zach, you
gonna
got-
have faith in Deniz's last
We
one
got
here.
6 left.
And I have 9, right?
Now, Zach, how do you feel about this affecting your journalistic integrity? The fact that you'll be rooting for the Eagles to win this game. and
Oh,
cover the
shoot. I didn't think about that. No, seriously, can we go back?
No.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Okay.
Zach, it was your swooper. You're beating
I'll
yourself.
tell Sullenberger it doesn't matter.
Well, I am putting my prediction out there, so I'm not rooting for it, but I am
Yeah.
telling you. So I'm gonna have a prediction in the paper, or not the paper, not the paper. I have a prediction on the website.
Front page of
yeah.
the New York Times.
Yeah.
Zach picks.
So the prediction, but no. Also, I'm playing. This is a different game. I'm not rooting for the swoopers. I am simply engaging in a podcast game here. So no, I'm not.
Okay, you can't say if Bo goes to the bathroom and the over hits. Do you want to go
Yeah.
and text him?
Over.
No, that's not. I was pointing out that Josh
Hmm,
Sweat, a player
sure.
who I had
No, it was
discussed.
Rager.
Rager. It was
Or I'm
Rager.
sorry, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not telling the truth. That's all right. All right, last one.
All right.
Marissa's got the most. Marissa's got 9. Zach's got 6. I've got 1.
Oh my goodness. Wow, this is gonna be crazy. because AJ Brown does a Batman themed celebration at some point in the game. He sort of hinted that he had a surprise plan if he scored when he was asked about Batman thing in the locker room after the game Monday night. Wow. I don't know what we do about this.
One. It's
should
a
I
duplicate.
get my?
So I would get 2 because I got the other one.
No,
No,
Zach
I
got the other one.
I too.
So Zach wins this and it happens. He gets 2.
But he's not going to win it.
Well, I get 1. I'm betting 1.
2.
So the best we can do is break even here, right? Nah.
You can win it and you'll get a double.
I can get 2 points. You're right. Yeah. Let's roll with 3 here.
4.
Ooh. It's a bridge too far for me.
That's a bridge too far. This is a huge opportunity for you to get a 2-point swing.
Actually,
otherwise, she's negating out your other thing. Like you're limiting your upside.
As you say it, 2 points for 7 turkeys. That's worth going to 5. 5. Yes.
6.
Okay. Well, Zach can't top 6, and so Marissa gets it at 6.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I like that. Bring
You
on the
and me are in
Batman.
this together.
That's
Marissa.
really neutered both of you because
I know.
you'll both get it. So Marissa has the fun one of the combined jersey numbers is over 200. She has the Eagles wide receivers have more yards than the Commanders wide receivers, and she has the A.J. Brown Batman, and she has 3 turkeys left. Zach has Carson Wentz has at least 1 interception or fumble. The A.J. Brown Batman, and the Eagles cover the spread and hit the over, and he has 6 turkeys left over. I have Carson Wentz attempts a left-handed pass. Carson Wentz interceptions are more than Jalen Hurts passing touchdowns. Dallas Goedert has exactly 5 catches. The position numbers won. There are at least 3 of those plays. The Phillies' magic number is lower than the Eagles' margin of victory, and a 2-point conversion fails. And I have 1 turkey left over. Exciting stuff. All right, let's get to our Zach. How do you feel about your performance? Let's just check in.
I mean, there's nowhere to go but up, right? I mean, this was like the 10-72 Sixers the next season, right? Anything's gonna be a gain. I don't love my performance, but I was hoping actually for more turkeys in my pocket going into next week. I got a little too aggressive on the Denise one, but I thought that was at least bidding in and controlling.
Have the most turkeys left over.
What's that? Yeah,
you still have the most.
No, I was hoping for more. I'm saying.
Well, I know, but you still have the advantage.
But I did. I mean, I don't need to give you a whole post-game press conference here, but I did deviate from my plan just a bit in that I said I was not going to bid on any Denise ones this week. I was just gonna keep stone-faced. But I mean, look, I suppose I'm not following the Eagles coaches here. I'm giving away some of the competitive advantage, but it's pretty obvious that I'm going this way. I will probably stay away from any bidding that you can lose turkeys and not get an item, right? So that is when I went back and looked at the past 2 weeks, that's what vexed me the most. And so that's what I will be better at in the future.
Okay. All right, let's get to our crystal ball Eagle predictions. I can go first since you just gave your post-game press conference.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I asked you. You did what I asked you to. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I think you worry about a letdown, but I think the fact that this is a division game, and for whatever influence the Carson Wentz revenge thing plays, I think it wards off that letdown possibility a little bit. And then if you're just looking at the matchup, I think it's a matchup that's pretty clearly in the Eagles' favor. I don't think Washington can stop the Eagles on the ground. I don't think that they can particularly stop them in the air either if Jalen Hurts is playing the way that he played last week. And I think that defensively, Carson Wentz is the perfect quarterback for them to go up against. I think they're going to be able to force him into making some mistakes in the pocket. I don't think that he's going to be able to remain patient throughout the game and take the layups and then convert in the red zone. I think that this will probably be a close game throughout. I think Washington will stay in it. I trust the people who like a little bit of a Scott Turner. But I think the Eagles pull away in the end. I think it's like a one-score game throughout, but the Eagles score late. And the final score is 33-24. Eagles win.
So I echo what you said there. I think the Eagles have the matchup. I have the matchup advantage on both sides of the ball. I think that it's not a particularly tough venue to go into, even though the Eagles had trouble winning there early in the Peterson era, right? And going back a bit there, but I think that I like this matchup for the Eagles. I think Carson's capable of a good game here, and I was a little surprised that the over/under was 47.5. I thought it was going to be a bit higher, given that Washington has put up points this year, and the Eagles' offense has shown they can put up points. The 6.5 line, I always get a little worried. I shouldn't say worried. I always my eyebrows raise when the look ahead lines change based on the outcome of the previous week, because sometimes there can be overcorrections in the market. But in this case, I don't know if it's overcorrection. I think the Eagles are a good team. And I think they showed that against the Vikings. I think they're going to show that this week. I have this teetering the point spread and teetering the over/under. I'm going with 30-23 Eagles.
And so you would win that. You would win your submission.
I would, yes.
Okay, that's good. Good for you.
But I'm not.
And will there be an AJ Brown Batman celebration?
Yes. And by the way, AJ Brown was referenced in Bo's favorite show last night, Abbott Elementary. I did not watch.
I like the show a lot. Let's I don't know.
Yeah, it came up in the press conference today.
Players is still out.
No, to answer your question though, I am not. The only thing I am rooting for. The only thing I'm rooting for is subscriptions and sub views on my story and on your story, and on high numbers on the post game pod, that it shows up in the trending channel the next day. To me, that is a successful day.
I'm rooting for no traffic and no rain during the drive down and back.
Oh, no rain. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. The traffic thing. Look, you're not going to hit traffic on the way home. I can promise you that. The way down,
you can't promise me that.
I should. That's true. One accident, could disrupt that. But by the time we leave with the post game pod, oftentimes the drive up's pretty smooth sailing. I see what I'm
going to do for this game. To drive
in terms of writing.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
Maybe you stay over. Maybe you stay over post game.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, though, really looking forward to this game. Really looking forward to the post game pod, and most especially looking forward to number 68 reporting as eligible tonight.
There we go. All right. So for Marissa and Zach and Elijah and Michael and Munger and Denise, we thank you for listening. We'll talk to you for the post-game pod Sunday evening, and stay tuned to the Athletic for any other content coming your way. But otherwise, we thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you Sunday. And as always, we love you.